this is our title, Data Science and Big Data Analytics, which is a part of AI, part of artificial intelligence. So in data science and big data analytics, so we are discussing Hadoop. Within Hadoop we have HDFS and Hive, HBase, Cassandra. Okay, these are the different databases. Every data scientist or data engineer should have idea about these databases. Without these databases, you cannot claim as a data scientist or a big data architect. Okay. So coming to the computation engines, we have a Pig, then MapReduce, then Hive, QL. So these are the programming components. Then the another framework, we have a Spark framework, which is a very powerful framework, much faster than Hadoop, 100 times faster than Hadoop. So within a Spark we have a Spark Core, Spark SQL, Spark Streaming, Spark Graphics, Spark MLib. Okay, these are the different modules within a Spark framework. But Spark framework requires one language, that API, that can be either Scala or Python or R language or Java. But here we don't require R and Java. We'll be discussing Scala and Python. These are fastest moving languages. So Scala, Python, both are object plus functional oriented languages. Both are object plus functional oriented languages. Object plus functional oriented languages. So very easy languages, easy to develop, easy to develop, easy to write code, or easy to debug the code. Right. So we'll always be writing applications, analytics applications with Spark and Scala combination, or Spark plus Python combination. This we call it as a PySpark. PySpark, which is a unique, very few people are available for PySpark. This is highly demanded skill. You can demand more salary, PySpark. Okay, so we are covering extensively PySpark. Nowhere else you get this one. Throughout India, you don't get PySpark. Okay, and we are also discussing the statistics for machine learning, deep learning algorithms. So different types of statistics, like inferential statistics, descriptive statistics. Inferential and descriptive statistics. Inferential statistics, descriptive statistics. Then coming to machine learning, data science, machine learning algorithms, then deep learning algorithms, then NLP. Not only this, we will be implementing these things, implementation of machine learning with Python, machine learning with Spark and Scala, machine learning with Spark and Python combination, PySpark. So we'll be implementing all three. So this is going to make you very unique curriculum. So you are going to be top of the world, no doubt about it, with the skill set. If you go through any company JD, you'll be having this skill set. So apart from this, we'll be discussing NiFi and Kafka also, which is not part of syllabus, but still we discuss as part of data ingestions. We will be covering majorly two roles, like data engineering. Data engineering will be covering two roles, data engineering as well as data science. Data engineering, data science. Okay. So data engineering, data science, both are very important to become a data scientist or artificial intelligence specialist. Everybody should be having idea about how to do data engineering and how to perform data science. Okay, any doubts here? No doubts, Anil? No doubts? Okay. Alright, so what we do, we'll start with Hadoop. Yeah, before this one we require a laptop after 4-5 classes, a laptop configuration, 6 GB RAM plus 1 terabyte hard disk. 6 GB RAM, 1 terabyte hard disk. i3 and above processor, Ubuntu operating system. Ubuntu load 18.04. Ubuntu operating system. So this is the configuration required.
1 TB extra would be fine, sir.
Internal. It has to be built in. It is very normal nowadays, 1 TB for laptops.
MacBook Pro, sir.
Oh, MacBook Pro, but we cannot even partition. Is it possible to partition? Then fine, make a partition and load Ubuntu. That's enough. Put 70% of space for Ubuntu and start doing it. Amirpet they do, yeah.
For power center.
Okay. So in Amirpet they do the partition and load this one. Okay. Let's start with the Hadoop. Yeah. So Hadoop here you see there is no technical meaning. It is a Thai name. This is the Thai, elephant Thai. So who invented Hadoop? His name is Doug Cutting. So he picked this name from his son. His son was playing with this elephant Thai, and his son named it as Hadoop. And Doug Cutting heard that name while his son was playing with this Thai, and identified it as a simple and unique and easy to spell. Then he named whatever the algorithm he invented, he named it as a Hadoop. That's how the Hadoop name is evolved. There is no technical meaning. Okay. So here in 2002 he invented, and 2008-9 onwards most of the companies started using Hadoop. So here the Hadoop is open source. It is donated to Apache company. Apache is a software foundation company. They promote all open sources. Okay. So Apache Hadoop contains a predefined libraries. It is called as a framework. These libraries are mainly used to distribute data across multiple computers and compute by using simple programming model. Compute by using simple programming model. So Hadoop, it is designed from single machine to thousands of machines. You can work with a single machine, you can work with thousands of machines. The scalability of Hadoop is very, very, very high. Okay. So it is completely open source. You can download and start working with your machines. The only thing is Hadoop is a distributed environment. Distributed means data distribution, computation distribution, and do parallel computation. Do parallel computation. So this is the definition of Hadoop. Why Hadoop is so popular? Because it is highly scalable, just now we discussed, high, robust, very simple, and highly accessible. Highly accessible. Okay. So these are all the different models, as I already explained to you. We'll be discussing one by one. Here in 2006 and 7, we have only core Hadoop. Core Hadoop means only HDFS and MapReduce. So later on year, there are many new things have been added to Hadoop framework like HBase, Zookeeper, here Pig, Hive. So now we have a full-fledged complete Hadoop framework, Hadoop ecosystem. Okay. So when we say Hadoop, there are mainly two components of Hadoop. So one is storage, another is computation. What is a storage here? What is a computation? Even other computers, other softwares also will have a storage and computation. But Hadoop contains distributed storage, distributed computation. So data will be distributed, computations are distributed. So Hadoop contains mainly two components. One is distributed storage, another one is distributed computation. Distributed storage and distributed computation. Okay.
But what exactly that is meant with distributed computation?
Yeah, I am about to explain that. What is a distributed environment, right? So look at this one. So where we have multiple computers, all are connected in a network. When we load data to multiple computers, the data will be distributed to all these computers, multiple machines. The data will be distributed to all the machines. When we submit computation, that computation also will be distributed to all the machines. Data will be distributed, computations are also will be distributed. And do work parallelly. All these computers will run parallelly. So computer is nothing but a node. Node, computer, both are same, which can store something and process something. So here it is completely distributed environment. They share the data, they share computations. Okay. Instead of working with one machine, you will work with multiple machines on the same task. Okay.
The companies, this virus software or other
Yeah.
softwares, they load.
Yes.
This is the backend.
Correct. But we are going to use for Hadoop computation environment, analytics environment. So you can also use a single machine for Hadoop. As I told you, you can start with a single machine, can scale up to thousands of machines. So it is called distributed environment. So node is nothing but a computer. Computer, node, both are same. Your laptop can be one node. So look at this one. Here very important thing is Hadoop cluster. In Hadoop environment or in analytics environment, cluster is very important. Without cluster, we don't even store data, we don't even compute anything, right? So here we have multiple computers. If you observe, these are the one set of computers. These are the some set of computers. These computers are called slaves. These computers are called slaves or data nodes. Slaves are data nodes. But these slaves do computations. These slaves do computations. The actual input-output operation is being performed here. Actual input-output operation is being performed here. These are work horses. These data nodes, slave nodes are called work horses. You can have any number of data nodes or any number of slave machines, depends on the capacity of cluster. Right? That is our choice. You can start with one machine, can scale to thousands of machines. But all these data nodes are managed by something called master. All these data nodes or slave nodes are managed by something called master node. This master node contains a metadata, that means data about data. So like what are the machines available and what are the directories created, what are the files loaded, what is the data loaded, what is the read and write operation can be performed, who is having authorization, who is not having authorization. This kind of data will be available in master. Remember, this master will never do any read and write operations. This will only delegate a task or transfer data to all the slave machines. This master is there to delegate the task and monitor all slave nodes. So this master will control all the data nodes. So we also have a secondary master. This will be backup for primary master. Whenever master fails, we will be working with the secondary master. We will be discussing later how these two backup mechanism will work. Okay. So all these machines put together is called Hadoop cluster. All these machines put together is called Hadoop cluster. So whenever you are asked to configure Hadoop cluster, we have to configure master node, you have to configure slave node or data node, you have to configure secondary node. Then once you configure all three, you say Hadoop is configured successfully. Right? Hadoop is configured successfully. So this is understanding of cluster, distributed environment. So now no more client server environment. Most of the applications are moving from client server to cluster environment, distributed environment. This is where data will be distributed to all the machines. Not only data, even computations are also distributed to multiple machines and do all the computations parallelly. Right? This is how the real cluster look like. Okay. So this is one cluster where we have rack 1, rack 2, rack 3. In each rack we have a nodes. Okay. So now coming to the technical components of Hadoop. So when we talk about storage, we should talk about HDFS, Hadoop Distributed File System. When we talk about processing, we should talk about MapReduce. HDFS talk about storage, MapReduce talk about processing. In HDFS storage, we have multiple daemons like a name node, date node, secondary name node. In processing, we'll talk about job tracker and task tracker. These are the storage daemons, these are the computation daemons. Daemon is nothing but engine which can store something and process something. Okay. Now, remember whenever we say a Hadoop cluster, or whenever we say configure Hadoop in our machines, we should see name node, data node, secondary name node, job tracker, task tracker running. We should see all these 5 daemons running, then we say Hadoop is configured successfully. Hadoop is configured successfully. Here we have HDFS and MapReduce. Any questions here? Right. First, let's see what is HDFS, Hadoop Distributed File System. Right? HDFS, it is mainly used to store data and manage huge amount of data across cluster of machines. It provides faster access, highly scalable, and highly fault tolerance. That means it can detect faults automatically and recover very fast, automatically without any manual intervention. Okay. Another important thing is the processing logic close to the data rather than the data close to the processing logic. What does it mean here? Here in traditional language databases, so what we do, we write a code against data and submit the code. When we submit code, data will be moved to code, okay, and do arithmetic operation, get back the data. But when you are working with a large amount of data, very difficult to move this large amount of data to the code and do arithmetic operations. That is where you move code to data, or move computations to data. So whenever you move code to data or computations to data, so obviously the computations will be effective. So if somebody asks you what is the main algorithm implemented in Hadoop, so you should say in simple line, that is moving arithmetic operations or moving code or moving computations to data. Data movement will not happen, only computations will be moved to data and do the operations there wherever data is located and get back the computations. Okay, like this. Here. So when we store data, the data will be stored here, 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 everywhere. When we submit computation, the computation will run here, run here, run here, here, here. So only computations are moved to data wherever data is located. Not data. Data movement will not happen. So that is the reason here we say moving computations to data. That is going to be more effective, and it is a highly efficient because it allows to execute arithmetic operations parallelly. It allows arithmetic operations parallelly. Then highly reliable. Okay, note down them. Okay, understood, right? And HDFS is mainly support for very large files, very large files. It is used commodity hardware and software. That means very cheaply available hardware and software. Any machine can be used for HDFS. Then another thing is streaming data access. Streaming data access means write once, read many times. Write once, read many times activities. For example, you have a news article that will be written once and read many times. That is only sequential access. HDFS allows only sequential access, no random access. Once you store data, we cannot override in HDFS. No overriding in HDFS. Once you load data, that's it, it will be there. Okay. So these are the main features of HDFS. These are the main features of HDFS. So what is the function of name node? Before that, I'll show you how the HDFS will look like. We'll open a terminal here. So this is the Ubuntu terminal. If you want to see Hadoop is running, just type JPS. Nothing is running. You can start now. Start -all.sh. Start -all.sh. Then JPS, you can see daemons running. Secondary name node, resource manager, node manager, data node. That means my machine is loaded with Hadoop. Hadoop is running in my machine. Correct. We configured Hadoop in my machine. We can work with Hadoop. But how to work with Hadoop? How to see that HDFS? Hadoop FS is the command. -ls to list. Enter. Once you get enter, once you press enter, you will see list of directories. These are the HDFS directories where you store data. Okay. Hadoop file system. FS means file system. right? You're able to follow, right? Last minus ls, list. Slash means root directory where you can see different directories displayed. Yeah. Okay. So this is HDFS. We'll be configuring that anyway practically. No need to worry about that. So what is the function of name node? Here you see a name node, right? You see name node here. This name node. What this name node does? Okay. What is the function of it? Yeah. That name node directs all the data nodes. It manages the slave nodes. For what? To execute low level IO operations, input output operations. So name node directs all the data nodes just to execute low level IO operations, input output operations. It also records the metadata. Metadata is data about data, like a location, size of the files, permissions, hierarchy. And name node will always receive some heartbeat or communication from all the data nodes. A name node also will pass communication to all data nodes. So that communication we call as a heartbeat. This will keep happening for every 3 seconds. So these are the 3 functions of name node. Yeah. So name node, it directs all the data nodes to execute low level input output operations. Low level IO operations. It also records the metadata. Metadata is like files, permissions, location of the file, size of the file. So name node regularly sends heartbeat to all the data nodes. Data nodes will receive heartbeat from name node. This is called communication between name node and date node. But what is the function of date node? It performs lower level operations like a read and write request. It processes the read and write request. This is the actual performer. Actual read write operations are being performed here. Okay. So that will communication will keep happening for every 3 seconds. Communication will keep happening for every 3 seconds. So this is the data node what we have. This is the data node. This is the data node. This is the name node. This is the data node. So you will have to configure all the name node data nodes. Now when we say HDFS daemons, HDFS Hadoop Distributed File System daemons, there are mainly name node, secondary name node and data node. Okay, so name node data, that is what we discussed, but that metadata is stored in the form of 2 files. One is FS image, another one is edits. These 2 files are created automatically. When you start running a cluster, these 2 files created automatically. These 2 files created automatically, FS image and edits. When these 2 files are created, that means name node configured successfully. If these 2 files are not created, name node is not configured successfully. Okay. Secondary name node also similar to primary name node. It also maintains FS image and edits, same as primary node name node. Okay. Then we have our data node. So I'll show you FS image and edits. You can create anywhere. I will create it here. Name node and data node. When you go to name node, it is opening it. Okay. Look at this edits. These are the edits files. Okay. So when you go to last line, you will see FS image. These are the FS images. Okay.
Read notice, whatever changes the data
Correct.
to the file.
Oh, yes.
Metadata.
Yes, you are right. Okay. So data node contains the data, actual information. Like this. This is where you see data. It's loading it. Yeah. So data will be loaded like this. We will see what are these one we will be discussing them. These are called blocks, so data blocks. Okay. So the data node contains data, name node contains metadata. Metadata in the form of 2 files, FS image and edits. Okay. All right. So yeah, I think we can stop here. So this is a little introduction about Hadoop. Everything we do hands-on and in the class itself. Okay. So within 4 to 5 days, get your laptop ready.